A warm welcome to all my subscribers. I hope you are all doing well. Today, I am here to take a topic on the subject internal financing. Internal financing and its sources. Internal financing and its sources are very much important for the people who are learning finance or accounting or into the field of financial management. So, today here I am going to take about a short introduction and its sources about internal financing and its sources. It will take only 5 minutes, so listen carefully. So, my topic is internal financing. What is internal financing? As the name suggests itself that it is the internal sources of money. Internal means within the organization. So funds generated within the business instead of external sources, which means the fund is generated inside the organization and not from external sources. What is the fund used for? This fund is used for making assets or expansion, etc. And what are the sources of internal financing? Sources of internal financing are retained earnings, depreciation funds, working capital adjustments, sale of assets. How we get the fund? We get the fund through retained earnings, depreciation funds, working capital adjustments, sale of assets. Then, what is retained earnings? Retained earnings means profits reinvested into the business instead of distributing as dividends. So, as a set of amount is set apart for as known as retained earnings, and it is not shared or distributed as dividends. A small amount of money that is earned through profit or sales, earned as profit through sales, is set apart, that is known as retained earnings. Actually, that is dividend, that is to shared for the shareholders, but some amount has moved apart to make it as a returned earnings. This is the most important source and it is an internal financing source of money. The next is depreciation funds. No cash expenses. Cash remains in business and can be reused for investment. This is not a non-cash expense. Cash remains in business and can be reused for investment. Then what is the other sources of internal financing? That is working capital adjustments. What is working capital adjustments? Efficient management of inventory, receivables, payables. What is working capital adjustments? Working capital adjustments are the inventory, the receivables, the payables, and these are managed in a efficient way to make it as a internal source of money. Then sale of assets. This you already know that when an asset is sold in an organization, we get money. This money is used for the expansion, rebuild, or any type of investment to the organization. So sale of assets, which means the assets is inside the organization, and when you inside the organization and when you sell it, it become an asset or a source of fund to the organization, which is termed as internal financing. Then advantages. Advantages means there is no interest burden, which means when you are borrowing money from outside sources of finance, definitely we need to pay interest. Nobody will gives you money without any interest for running a business. So when people are making money or using money from the internal sources, there is no burden for interest. Then full ownership control means the money we earned or the money we make through financing, internal financing, has full control over the person who are capable for the money, which means full ownership control, and it is easily available. There is no need to roam around and find the sources of money. It is easily available. Then improves stability, which improves stability. The fund we get through the internal sources improves stability. Disadvantages. What are the disadvantages? Limited funds, reduced dividends may slow growth, which means that limited funds, we have a time limit or a frame limit to uh, get the money. We don't get a high amount of money, it is limited, which means the sale of assets or any type of internal financing is limited. We get a short amount of money, not a huge or big amount of money compared to external financing. Then reduce the dividends. It will reduce the dividends when uh, money is kept aside as returned earnings. It will reduce the dividends. Reduced dividends leads to what? Reduced dividends leads to shareholders disinterest. They may feel less or they are not valued, and more or new shareholders will not enter into the business, and dissatisfaction of shareholders may occur due to reduced dividends, and it will also slow growth. It may reduce the growth of the organization because internal financing, the amount we get through internal financing are very low. Then example. For example, company earns rupees 10 lakh profit, returns rupees 6 lakh for expansion. This is internal financing. So a company earns rupees 10 lakh as profit and retains 6 lakh for expansion and move apart as 6 lakh for returned earnings, and only what did they have left? They have left only 4 lakh. So returned earnings kept apart as 6 lakhs, and this is known as internal financing. It is a type of example which comes under returned earnings. Thank you. I hope it is clear, and this is a very simple topic which all of you can learn. Thank you.